This is a topic that has been debated for over 100 years. Yes, you've heard me right. It has been debated for over 100 years. It is not a huge political topic. It is homework. Yes, we have been talking about homework for over 100 years. And do our kids really need it? How much should they have? Is it right? Is it wrong? Whoa. I really had no idea that it had been debated that long. I know in my lifetime as an educator, I have debated it myself. But can you imagine, how do your children feel about homework? How do you feel about homework? Hi, and welcome to Learning Life. And thank you for joining me as we look at homework. I know that if we asked any of our children who are having to do homework, they would probably tell us it's the worst. Boo to homework. I have seen the struggles firsthand as I have worked with kids who have been given homework and it's enough. It's like a dagger in their heart, right? Did you know that homework has been going in and out of fashion? Who knew that homework was fashionable? Well, we've had times, where it's no homework whatsoever. Our students shouldn't have it. We should get it done in school. But then there's these pressures for better grades and rankings. And so with that comes this push for homework. Okay. Yeah, how do you feel about it? I have memories of homework and how much I had to get done and all of that it took, and all these years later, it can still bring up this sort of visceral response to homework. Oh my goodness, it really can be a highly charged subject in some houses. I know that for sure. Well, before we move on, I just want to say a great big thank you for watching. Thank you for the likes and subscribes and for the comments and for being part of this learning life. Because you know what? We're here to learn, right? And doesn't homework help us learn? Well, let's look at that. Let's look. Now, does homework really help us learn? Why do we get given homework? There's so many questions around it, and I really do want to touch on that today. Rule of thumb. Did you know that there is a rule of thumb when it comes to giving homework? And they do say it's about 10 minutes per grade level that you're at. So first grade should get 10 minutes, second grade, 20 minutes, and so on and so forth. Does this happen? No. It really doesn't. Actually, a 2015 study showed that up to sixth grade children were getting 3 times the amount of recommended homework a night. That's huge in my mind. That's well outside of this rule of thumb. And, we're all, they're looking at it going, okay, if we're saying 20 minutes, for a second grader, for them to now have an hour, that is a big jump. So when I look at that and all of this being pushed over, why do we have a rule of thumb? Do I agree with the rule of thumb? Yeah, pretty much. Okay. But we're at this point of there's been giving too much. Why are we giving too much? Let's look at this. Why give homework? As a teacher, I remember in teacher training and they talked about this, and we had talks about why we should be giving homework and what it means and how much we should be giving, et cetera, et cetera. Is it something that I always agreed with? Not necessarily, but I do understand, when I look at these points, intellectually, I look at them and I go, yeah, this is why we give homework. It creates a bridge between school and home. Okay, it's an opportunity for parents to be able to see what is happening in school and the things that our children are learning. It does help our children to practice what they are learning in the classroom. So homework should be practice. And from that, we can also learn things like responsibility, actually getting it done, Organization, make sure we're doing it and getting it back to school, and prioritizing, like what do we need to be doing and when. These are great skills. It can help you to become a better student, especially as we're looking at like responsibility, organization, and it can help teachers to cover what isn't being taught in the classroom when time constraints mean like less instruction time. That one, like I struggle a little bit with. I will be honest on that because I'm like, homework shouldn't be learning new concepts. It should be practicing, but I get it. Like there are time constraints and like so much that is out there. And so those are really like our reasons like why we're giving homework. And I think we've sort of like traveled those like through all the decades, right? Over 100 years, we'd probably saying, these are our reasons why we give homework. But you know what? Can we weigh it up? Can we look and see the benefits, the cons of this? Pros and cons of homework. Oh, I love me a good pros and cons list. I really do. Like, I like to be able to look at both sides and being like, okay, where does this come from? So let's look at the pros. Like here, homework is good, okay? It provides practice opportunities. I agree with that. Like practicing is good and it gets parents involved. Parents should be involved. You should know what your students are learning. Yes, in that like time management, study habits, life skills, these are all really good things. More learning time. I love to learn. This is great. And it reduces screen time. I have seen that one like several. If they've got more homework, they've got less time like to be on the screens, unless it is like for homework. And it can improve student achievement. I think that is a good list. And I think we all look at that and go, that is worthy and that is valid. But the cons, okay? Too much homework. And remember, we just said that, children can be getting 3 times the recommended amount, can cause high stress. I don't want children to be stressed about homework. I really don't. It also really highlights this digital inequality, okay? And what I mean by that is not everybody can afford internet at home and the computers at home. And so much now, I see children, you have to go onto your portal to be able to pull up what your homework is, or there's all these things that you need to be doing online. If you don't have home internet and you don't have a computer at home, you can't get your homework done, which then affects your grades because, you're getting a 0 because you haven't turned it in. And so this is definitely, to me, a major con. It can be busy work. And busy work just means really, what's the point? Why we're doing it? Well, we're just doing it because we were assigned it. It eats into family time. Hey, family time to me is important, that we can spend this time together, learning, laughing, just being together. I think there's probably several parents out here have some stories about the conflict that homework can cause, particularly when it comes to a concept that your child is not understanding. And then you realize that you were taught it in a very different way to how they are learning it. And you're trying to explain it and they're telling you that you were wrong, but that's not how that they learn it. And then we're butting heads. Okay, this conflict is happening time and time again. And it can be hard. Or that as a parent, you were trying to get, just do your homework, please just do your homework. Again, we're getting this butting of heads. It can also encourage cheating because, we're getting too much. We might be looking at it and going, how can I get around? Looking on, things like photo math, which, I think is great to be able to go over to see whether you got it correct or not. But I watch children just take the photo and then just write down the answer, okay? Cheating is not good. It gives that added pressure for grades, especially here, and it surprised me that homework is graded. And I've seen some classes where, homework counts for 35% of the final grade. So, this pressure for grades, and as we look at it, yes, can it improve student achievement? Yes, but honestly, there's not enough proven studies to look at the results of homework to say that homework is actually a winner, and by doing homework where it just fully increasing grades. And it does reduce play, recreation, and downtime. And our children need play, recreation, and downtime. how much is too much. Homework should not be causing tears, stress, anxiety, frustration, and that's just from the parents, right? No, it should not be causing that. And it should not be taking a long time. Okay, in my mind, homework should be a refresher, not a stressor. Okay, it should be like I'm reading over my materials. Oh, that's what I was learning today. Or here's a few practice problems to make sure that I am understanding. It should not be taking a long time. And too much is given. I have worked with a number of children that have some academic challenges or some learning issues. And I have watched homework just become far too much for them. I remember one third grader that it was taking him 3 hours a night to try and get it done. And there were tears and there were frustration. There was hiding under the table. And with that then coming down that he was like, well, I am dumb. I am dumb. No, you just had too much homework and there's expectation on you to be able to get it all done when that shouldn't have been there in the first place. This child actually had an IEP. They should not have been getting that much. I've had teenagers as well when I'm looking at and how much it is and just, whoa, the heavy weight that it was. It is like too much. It should be a time to read over notes, to do a few practice problems, maybe like work for a little bit like on a project that is going to be handed in later. But when you've spent all day in school, you should not be coming home and spending several hours having to do homework. In my mind, that is a no. Okay, I am not a huge fan of copious amounts of homework. A little bit. In fact, while teaching, several times I've been sort of like pulled aside saying, you know what, you really need to be giving more homework. I'm like, I actually don't. Got a few little math problems here. I want them to read for a little bit or, like on time there, play a board game with your family tonight. I think there is so much that you can learn from that. But it's like, no, you've got to give more homework. I'm like, no, they need to be able to play. They need downtime. They've been in school all day. And now you want me to be giving like this. Yeah, that really is too much. And parents, here, I just want to encourage you, if you feel your child is getting too much and it's taking too long, talk to your child's teacher. They don't know if you don't tell them, and like for some of our kids, like 20 math problems is too much, but to us, could they maybe do 10 and we'll see how that goes. Or, they just can't do like this amount. It is taking so long. And you know what? We're getting to bed far too late and then sleep deprivation sets in. And then guess what? That affects your class tomorrow. As parents, we need to stay on top of how much our children have. They should not be getting 3 times the recommended amount in that rule of thumb. Okay? And it's up to you to be able to say something. And I encourage you to say it, of course, with kindness, but you can say it and being like, this is too much. My child needs less. Look, this is where I know that all these homeschoolers are like, yeah, no homework. And look, I get it. We learn like in different ways, but I really do feel like that there is too much and we need to cut back. Let's have a look at that rule of thumb, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But even, for my high schoolers, I think up to 2 hours is a lot. We don't want to see them cheating. We want them to feel good about what they can be doing so that they can be building like their responsibility and time management, so they can be building study skills and to feel better about their work. That will improve grades rather than the stress. Because as I said, homework should be a refresher, not a stressor. Okay. How do you feel about homework? Oh, it's almost bringing stuff up in me. I would love to hear your thoughts on homework and how much you think is enough for kids, whether or not you think that we should just ban it at all. Like I know that there are some schools districts that are saying in the younger grades, no homework. And I'm like, yay, that's a great answer. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for watching today and for being part of this learning life. And it is now time to announce the winner. And the winner of the Ultimate Science Kit is Erin, congratulations. You have won the science kit. I'll be in touch with you to get you this kit. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and for being part of this giveaway. Don't forget, there's another one coming up next month. Again, thank you so much for watching today. And you know what, for being part of this learning life. If you want to help get videos out here, you know what, you can do that. And you can do that by being a champion. So check that out at patreon.com or at my website, LearningThis.Life.